Council and General Government Policy Council and Agriculture and Natural Resources Policy Committee, Representatives Van Zant and Cannon and others, CS for HB 1219, a bill to be entitled and act relating to the regulation of state lands and oil and gas resources.
Representative Van Zant, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our nation desperately needs to free ourselves from OPEC oil. Florida's present electric power generation requirements demand a large amount of natural gas, and as we move toward alternative energy sources, we need even more natural gas during the required transition years. Currently, there is a large reserve of oil and a larger reserve of natural gas below the surface of the eastern planning area in the Gulf of Mexico. This bill will address construction of facilities, production, transportation, and distribution of oil and natural gas through a permitting process with the DEP after the governor and the cabinet provide leases to those who are bidders after they have put up each $1 million laid on the table just for the opportunity to talk about it. It's time for facts and not fear. I'm reading all the reports in the papers and all of the television articles that talk about how fearful it is because Florida's Gulf is now going to have an oil rig every 3 miles and the beaches are going to turn black. That is simply not the case. Oil rigs are a thing of the past, and we need
Representative Van Zant, please explain the bill.
All right. Well, that's the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
We talk about oil and natural gas. Thank you.
All right. Members, we were lengthy time on questions the other day, so but if you got a couple specific questions, we'll entertain. But otherwise, we're going to go to amendments and then debate. Representative Saunders.
For questions.
Go right ahead.
I generally don't ask questions on third reading, but an article came out this weekend. I wanted to ask you just 2 questions about the article that was in the St. Pete Times. The first question is, do you know who the members of a corporation called Florida Energy Associates, LLC are?
Representative Van Zant.
Who Florida Energy Associates, LLC are exactly. I do know one person who is a lobbyist that represents them. I've met him.
Representative Saunders for second question.
The reason I ask is that the article specifically mentions a lawyer, Doug Daniels, and I'm going to read a quote from the article. Quote, Daniels said his group filed the original bill earlier this year. Let me repeat that statement. Daniels said his group filed the original bill.
Please ask the question.
The question is about this quote. Daniels said his group filed the original bill earlier this year. That bill, House Bill 1219, would have directed the Department of Environmental Protection to come up with a plan for developing offshore oil reserves. The bill was expanded last week with an amendment filed by Representative Dean Cannon and Representative Winter Park, Republican Winter Park. The question is this an accurate quote? The quote says that Daniels said his group filed the original bill earlier this year. That bill is your bill. So are you saying that you don't know who the people are that are claiming credit for having filed the bill?
Representative Van Zant.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Saunders, I did not read that article. I have no knowledge that there is a Representative Daniels in this House, nor do I have any knowledge that the St. Pete Times is represented in this House. I filed the bill on the telephone with the help of my aide while I was driving down the road back in February, and I don't even know Daniels to my knowledge. I've met thousands of people since I've been here, but I'm not in league with any lobbyist to file this bill. I filed the bill.
Pafford.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to also oppose this bill. It really flies in the face of what we're doing as a state in terms of taking the lead in renewable energy. The bill wipes out decades of bipartisan opposition to oil drilling and moves attention away from where we need to be looking, and that's solar and wind energy. The direction that we really must go to. But, you know, it's a bit more than that, members, and I was looking at this chamber wondering perhaps how oil exploration may have changed the face of this very chamber. And if you take a look in the gallery, it's difficult to see, but we have these tremendous murals. There are 10 of them that surround this chamber. 8 of those 10 murals are depictions of bodies of water. I don't think that's a coincidence. I look at Chief Osceola and wonder if he's pointing into the ocean. I wonder if that concern is what I'm feeling now, that anxiety about placing rigs pumping oil from our seabeds. I look at the pictures, the murals to the east behind Representative Steinberg, and wonder if we're going to go ahead and have to recommission one of those. By the way, it's called the New Age. If we should stencil in some rigs next to the shuttle, or perhaps Henry Flagler's train. And then finally, in the back of the chamber, members, you'll notice the 2 large murals depicting clear, beautiful water. And I think to myself that, 43 years of living in Florida, I'm a native. There's a lot of natives in here, folks. I know that. But I also realize that those pictures really depict not only what Florida is in terms of a treasure, not only to this state, to its people, to our budget, but it really is our heritage. And, I hope a lot of people are listening to this debate. And, Madam Speaker, I really appreciate the fact that this body is allowing the time for this debate, because it's certainly a necessity. And I really hope that our governor, if in fact this bill makes it out of this chamber today, seriously considers the effects that drilling will have on this great state. I wonder if Osceola, if he was alive today, each of us, after we take our vote today, would be able to look into his eyes, essentially look into the eyes of our past, and believe and really confirm that vote that we took today was truly the vote that was best for the state of Florida and most important to our heart. I think that's how important this vote's going to be today. Members, I would urge your opposition to this very, very bad bill. Thank you.
For House Bill 1219, the clerk will unlock the machine and the members will proceed to vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? All members voted? Have all members voted? All members voted? Clerk will lock the machine and announce the vote.
70 yeas, 43 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes.